Good day everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We have discussed on how to design effective information systems output on our previous video. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss how to design effective information systems input. My name is Gungu. Welcome to channel Gungu Learning. Similar with the output, in order to understand how to design an effective input, you need to first understand the input design objectives. We have several input design objectives. The first one is effectiveness, so that the user will be able to input data effectively to the systems. For example, the input design is done in flow that enable users to only input data in accordance to the flow of the input design. This way, the users will not be distracted and have to follow the sequential flow of the input design. Let's look at the following form example. This is an example of an effective input form design. I designed this so that the users will only be able to select 3 columns: the customer codes, product codes, and quantity. This way, the user will not be distracted with the other columns. And since I'm using a laptop and keyboard to input the code, so input the data, this means that I can follow the sequential flow of the input form without distracted with any other sequence. For example, I can click on customer code, and if I click tab on my laptop keyboard, it will go to the first line of the product codes, another tab to the quantity of the first product code, another tab second product code, and quantity of the second product code. For example, if I wanted to change the customer code, all the other columns will be automatically filled. This is true also with the product code. If I change it, and I can change the quantity, and it will directly change the total, grand total. And as you can see that the dates will follow in, the date and time will follow in wherever I change the column from each of the customer codes, product codes, and quantity. So this way, the customer will not be distracted and can effectively input their data inside the user form. The next objective is accuracy. The input design should enable users to accurately input data to the systems. This means that the data that is being inputted into the systems has been validated appropriately using some sort of program validation control. Let's look at the following form example. In this input form example, I have included some sort of program control for the previously unlocked 3 columns that I can choose as a user: the customer code, product code, and quantity. Now, since the customer code and product codes are already in list, the users will be able to choose from the list. However, if it's not on a list, so maybe something like this, the user probably have to memorize or find the codes, like the this is not in the list, but he or she as a user will probably try to input the customer codes when they remember. And since there's a program control, it will show feedback or an error stating that, okay, this is not the appropriate input data. Yeah. Okay, other than that, product code is the same, but quantity in here, for example, if I change it to 0, it will also show an error, and it shows the guideline must be between 1 to 10. So let's try to input again 11. Okay, but let's say 9. Okay, so that's a program control that can make the life of the users easier to input the data, because whenever they make errors, the input form will give them some feedbacks or probably give them some auto correction, and it's automated, so that the user will be able to input data in the user form more effectively. The third objective is the ease of use of the input. We design the input
so that the users will have the least effort to input data to the systems. An interactive guidance such as pop-ups or even appropriate labels or naming or captioning will enable the users to easily use the input design. We can see them on the following form example.
Now, this input form is already easy to use. For example, user only needs to select 3 different types of columns, right? It can give feedbacks or automated feedbacks whenever he or she inputs the wrong or inappropriate data. Now I also include a pop-up guideline so that the user will be able to easily input the data, since it also shows the guideline on how to input the data. For example, customer codes, there's a pop-up how to. Please select from the drop-down list. Okay, so just select one of these. Product codes also the same. There's a pop-up here. For quantity, I also include, please input data between 1 to 10, right? So you can just change it and go show 1 to 10. So it makes the lives of the users to input data becoming much more easier.
The next objective is input consistency. The input design should be structured consistently and not messy. These include the types of font for each of the labels, and even the size of the font should be consistent, so the users will not be too difficult in understanding the input design, as well as the input design will be more structured and not messy. Let us look at the following example.
This input form is very consistent. As you can see that I have now changed the fonts to Times New Roman to make it a bit more professional. Now, so long as the fonts are consistent with all of the other fonts here, right? The size of the font also consistent. Other than that, you have previously we talked about the guidelines here, and for each of the columns that can be changed or inputted data to, all of them has these guidelines, right? Quantity also have guidelines, and each of the columns also has the program control to make sure that the inputted data is accurate. So this means that now if I want to design another form, I will design it in accordance to this standard, so that all of my user forms will be consistent.
The fifth objective is simplicity. The input design should be simple and straightforward. So this means that the users will be able to understand and know where to input the data to. The design also should not be too complicated to the users. Therefore, this objective is related to the ease of use objective. Usually, the simpler the design, the easier to use. Let us again look at another following form example.
Let's go back again with this input form. As you can see here, I can change a bit, and previously this user form is already very simple, and it now becomes more simple. The users will just can go to this particular column, yeah. Since it's already been highlighted with the color yellow, the user can simply just look at, oh, okay, so this is the columns that I can choose and columns that I can change the data or input the data to. Yeah. So it becomes much more simpler to the users, and as you can see, all of the data that needs to be inputted here is very simple also. There's the caption here, there's the guidelines, and so on. Yeah, very simple.
Finally, the last objective is attractiveness. The input design should be as attractive as possible so that the users are willing to input the data. Attractiveness will also affect the behavior of the user. If the input design is attractive, then the user will feel happy and satisfied when they are inputting data to the systems. The following form, again, are examples that should demonstrate how attractiveness can affect the users.
Now, as you can see here, the same input form, but I put some colors with different readings of greens and gold. Here, greens and golds here. I bolded some of the fonts here, this table here, and the grand total. And it became more attractive. And I'm pretty sure my user will be pleased with the input form, and is very happy to input the form because it looks greenier, it looks peaceful, but there's something that catch them, that they need to do something about it. For example, there's a gold color here. They notice that, okay, I have to change this, so they need to input data inside it, and so on. Yeah, it becomes more attractive. Well, at least from my point of view, and I hope my user also view this attractive and make them happy, and will change their behavior in inputting data inside this user form.
Once we understand about the input and its objectives, next we will look at the types of input design that can be used by analysts and designer. The first design is electronic forms. An electronic form should be designed in accordance to the input design objectives that we have discussed previously. So it should enable users to input the data effectively and accurately. This also means that automated validation inputs are available in the electronic forms, and the labelings and columns or captions that will be used to input data should also be consistently designed, structured, and organized in a way that the users can input the data with a minimum effort, and it should be simple and easy to use, as well as make the users feel happy and satisfied. The second design is display screens and web forms. The display screen here is with a touchscreen display, so it can also produce some outputs interacting directly with the users. And similar with the web forms, it can produce pop-ups that list some guidance in order to make the users easier when they are going to input the data. The second design also should fulfill input design objectives overall, similar with an electronic form. The third one is graphical user interface. Graphical user interface is where we can design by using graphical objects that has been already designed inside an application. For example, by using a control toolbox. I will demonstrate it by using Microsoft Excel and its Visual Basic application. In Microsoft Excel window, I can go to the developer menu and then select Visual Basic, and then I can access the Visual Basic environment. Then I can insert a user form, and as you can see in the upper left, in the user form I can select several control toolboxes and draw the control toolboxes inside my user forms. For example, here I will draw a label here, for example, and then I will change the caption using names. And next I will also draw another label, just copy it, and I'll change it to sex here, to change the caption. And now I'm going to draw another control toolbox, a text box toolbox here, so that I can input text to the name toolbox. And next I'm going to put a combo box so that I can choose a couple of data for the sex. And I can input the data first. Let's go to the Excel window, and on column A1 and A2 I'll put male and female as the data, and then after that I can go back to the Visual Basic windows, And then on the combo box, I will look at the property and find a row source, and I'll input A1 and until A2. Okay, and then I'll draw another control toolbox, for example comment button here. Just change the caption. And next I can run the applications, and as you can see here, I can put text in the name, and I can choose the data that has been already listed here, yeah. And then I can also click on the comment button, and this is the most exciting part, where I can click and click and click and click the comment button. Then I can go back here. So that's how you design an input by using graphical user interface employing control toolboxes. The next input design is the website design. An effective website usually have several good components, such as first, AJAX or asynchronous JavaScript and XML. The AJAX is a combination of JavaScript and XML, where the JavaScript will be able to call data in the XML, and the data will be automatically updated in the JavaScript. This means that when you open a website, whenever you do something to the website or input data to the website, it will be automatically updated and shown to the user, making it more interactive. I have provided an AJAX tutorial module on Alloc, and you can follow the instruction. It should enable you to understand how to create an AJAX website and understand about XML and JavaScript. Another website component is the hamburger icon. Just like a hamburger with two buns and some fillings in between the two buns. This icon shows in three separate lines. Here, an example, it will show a menu that can be clicked, and it will then show a sub-menu that can also interact with. The next website component is what we call the breadcrumb trail. The breadcrumb trail will show you a new path or where you came from. For example, in here you can see that you came from several menus before the home menu in the website. Finally, the last website component is the fat footer. This is where the website, at the bottom part of the website, where you can put a lot of information. For example, here, all of the menus or sub-menus or even social media links are located at the bottom of a website. This is an example of very fat footer, and there are a lot of information or menus that can be clicked or navigated from the footer here. And as you can see here, there are social media pages that can be clicked to go to the social media of the company of the website. I think that's all that I can explain in a brief. For more details, we can discuss it in the synchronized session on Zoom or the asynchronous session in the discussion forum on Alloc. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll be seeing you guys on the next session. Good day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.